Let's go and do some vertical translations. This is our next step in learning about parabolas and quadratics. Here's our basic parabola, y equals x squared. And we all know what y equals x squared gives you. It gives you this nice little pretty parabola that goes like this, goes right to the origin, and then goes up like that. Everything's fine, and we know that that's our happy parabola. It's smiling at us. Looking at the next part, we have a different equation. We have this plus 3 here, and we call this a translated parabola, and we're going to find out why. Let's go to our calculator here, which I just happen to have handy and ready to go. So let's put in our equation, which is x squared plus 3. And we're going to hit graph. Watch what happens to our beautiful little parabola. Suddenly now it's moved. It's no longer on the origin. It's up a little bit higher. So if you take a look at this, look where it is right there. It's at 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So what I'm going to do here is going to go back to this and go, okay, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and I'm going to draw the exact same parabola again because I want you to notice something here. We never did change that a value. That a value is still 1, just like the a value is here. So all we did is we took this particular parabola right here and we moved it up. Everything went up 3 places. So that's what that looks like. Let's take a look at the next graph then. So if we look at the next graph, here's our original parabola again. Beautiful little parabola looking straight up and straight down. There we go. Nice at 0, 0. There's this little vertex there at 0, 0. But now we're going to go minus 5. So let's go to our calculator again and let's see exactly what happens there. So I'm going to go to my y equals. I'm going to clear this thing out. I'm going to put my x squared and now minus 5, and let's graph this and see what happens. Remember last time that minus meant to flip the parabola around. Well, I'm not flipping the parabola around. Take a look what happened. I'm actually just moving the exact same parabola down, but I'm moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. Why is it moved down 5? Well, look, that's a negative 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my vertex, same wonderful little parabola that I had before. Remember, my a value has not changed. This a value and this a value are exactly the same. Both of those a values are 1. So being that they're both 1, they're both opening up and normal parabolas. Let's take a look at this one then. Let's do a summary. So what we have here so far is we have our a values, which we know tells you, is it opening up, is it opening down, is it opening narrow, or is it opening wide? And now we have this q value. This q value tells you to go up or down. So I've got a really nice little example here for you that's going to combine both things. Here's 2. Now, remember, that 2 means that it's opening up because it's positive, and it's going to open up very, very narrow or thin. Okay? Here's my plus 3, which means that I have to move up 3 spots. So here we go. Let's start where our normal parabola would be, which is right here. We're going to move it up 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. There's my new starting point, and I'll put that in another color. Here we go. There's my new starting point, and I have to remember that this is going to be thin. It's going to be narrow. So let's just draw it narrow. Now, you'll notice that every one of these drawings are a sketch. They're not very accurate. So let your calculator do that. Now, that's a nice thing here. We can go to our calculator, we can put y equals to whatever this equation was, and we'll get a beautiful little equation here and a great example. There's our 2x squared, okay, plus 3. And we can graph it, and it should look pretty much like what we have over here, and it does. All right, so let's go on. Looking at our last thing here, let's take a look at this one. Look what we have on this one. We have a negative. A negative in the a value. We have a fraction, which tells you that this is going to be opening down, and it's going to be opening wide. And our last thing is that we have a negative 5, which means it starts way down at the bottom. So here, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. There's our starting point right here. And we know it's going to be opening down and it's going to be opening wide. So let's just exaggerate it. There we go. Looking something like that. Now, if you want to, again, do that on the calculator, that would be a really good idea, but don't forget that when you're dealing with a fraction, you have to have it in brackets. Brackets, negative 3 divided by 4, there's your nice little fraction, x squared, okay, and minus 5, and you'll see exactly what I have drawn down on there.